how badly did you want Bellinger back, and what makes him such a great fit for this team based on what you've seen not only throughout his career but really firsthand last season?
Yeah, badly. I was actually in my office in Yankee Stadium when the news broke. So the handful of us that were down in the clubhouse, there was a little rumble and a roar through the clubhouse in our excitement to get Cody back. And I think he hit on it with something was, he can win a game in a lot of different ways, and that became very apparent to us. First of all, he fits us so well. But, his ability to play our tough left field, but then legitimately not be able to stand in center, but go play center. I didn't play him a lot at first base last year, but the handful of times I did, it was like, whoa, this guy's, you appreciate what an outstanding athlete is. You see him, a ball go in the gap in a tie game in the eighth, and he is flying around the bases to score. So we were really excited. I remember last year getting him from the Cubs because we felt like we were getting a special player and a really good fit for our ballpark. That turned out to be absolutely true. But one of the things I love about Cody too is, he's been through so much as a player. So he's got real grit to him, real grizzled experience. He's been an MVP in this league. He's won a world championship. He's dealt with a real significant injury and had some real struggles at the big league level and kind of reinvented himself a little bit and has had success in that transition. So, and then he's just, you heard him talking a lot about winning, and so many of our guys, that is evident that is their priority day in and day out. And that was the case with Cody last year. Whatever I asked of him, he was gung-ho on. If I told him he was having a day down, he was no questions asked, just I'll be ready to go coming off the bench. He's just a really versatile, unique player. And kind of that old school throwback of just takes pride in going to the post and what it means to play the game right.
Hey, Aaron, you just mentioned there was a little rumble and roar in the clubhouse earlier when the news broke that he was indeed signing back. Who else was in the clubhouse with you?
Yeah, so I was actually talking to Matt Blake and Ryan McLaughlin. We're sitting in my office, and Blake's usually good at getting breaking news. So he interrupted my whatever I was talking about at the time and said, Cody's back. And, so we were kind of walking up and down the hallway with whoever was there and kind of excited. And I called Cody right away because he was ignoring my text a little bit at the end. I'm sure that he didn't want to tip his hand too much. So I connected with him right away, and to hear the excitement in his voice about being back certainly mirrored my excitement to obviously have him back in the mix.
Brian Hoke.
Hey, Aaron, you had talked about Dominguez and Spencer Jones fighting for left field this spring with Bellinger back. How does this signing change the spring, the outlook for those guys?
Yeah, the reality is it does change. We've got, Cody obviously right back in the center of the mix and Grish back. So, that maybe complicates some things for them, but we also know what potentially outstanding players they're going to be in this league. And, we have a long time to go between now and first of all, even the first spring training game, but certainly opening day, and you never know what's going to come down the pike, So we're fortunate to have two really talented players. In Jasson's case, a guy that's already been in the big leagues and already had some success and already gained real experience at the big league level. Spencer, who's trying to, kind of kick that door in after a really, really outstanding minor league season last year. So, you start predicting the future too early, and things change in a hurry. And, and one of the things that, why we love Belly so much too is the versatility he brings. So when somebody, whether it's, early on in the season, whether it's next year, whenever it may be, someone carves out an opportunity for themselves, Belly's that true like versatile player that can go be really successful all over the diamond. So we'll see how everything plays out. The reality is we have a lot of really good players, and Jasson and Spencer are part of that.
Go to Dan Martin.
Hey, Aaron. Is there any update on Judge's elbow? I know it's been kind of status quo throughout the offseason. Is he doing normal offseason stuff in terms of preparation for the WBC?
Yeah, he's doing really well. And actually, because he has ramped up his throwing program a little bit more, because obviously he's getting ready for the WBC. So he's ahead of the game more so than he even normally is from a throwing standpoint. But I know it's going really well for him, and he feels ready to go right away in camp.
So there's no hesitation from your vantage point about what he has to do to unleash it, and any risk of injury or anything, or no?
No, he looks great.
Thanks.
Curry, please unmute.
Aaron, you mentioned all of the things that Cody does so well on the field. One of the subsets of that is the fact that he actually has a two-strike approach, which is a bit of a throwback. How much do you appreciate his approach at the plate and how he's constantly making those adjustments?
Yeah, I love it. It serves him well, especially in our lineup. I don't know how much, but probably well over 100 games where I hit him right behind Aaron Judge, and typically in that 3-hole, and where you had, Grish getting on base a lot, or Goldschmidt against lefties, and then Judge, obviously, as much as he's getting on, to have a bat to ball guy like Cody that also, by the way, has power. What a luxury to have him, kind of cleaning up the bases a lot. And he was so good with runners in scoring position. I think part of that is that approach that he has, where he evolves a little bit as the count unfolds. Getting to 2 strikes, he has the ability to kind of slap the ball around the field, but also with his kind of pull power, really take advantage of our ballpark too. So, he just brings so much to the table. And then I can't undersell his athleticism. Like that's I think the biggest, you're getting a good athlete, but to watch him every single day, to watch how fast he is, and to watch what truly a special athlete he is, I think that's the biggest thing that stood out watching him day in and day out. Obviously you're born with that to a degree, but I also think it's how he works now, how he understands himself, his background growing up playing soccer and baseball, I think has really served him well too. And it shows every night on the field, with different ways he can beat you.
Thank you.
We'll move to Gary Phillips.
Hey, Aaron. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right here, but you guys traded for Chivi earlier today. Just what do you guys like about him, and what do you think he can be away from course?
Yeah, we'll see. He's a young man, I think he's 23 years old, already has a lot of major league experience. So, I wasn't that in on, that coming down the pike the last week. It's a young man with talent that, I'm sure a lot of our, guys in the front office identified some things where maybe we can tweak some things and hopefully, obviously not only add to our depth, but hopefully, see a young man kind of still blossom in his career.
Thanks.
Kirshner, please unmute.
Hey, Aaron, you've been pretty consistent these past few months that you guys were going into the offseason with a good roster in place. What would you say to some fans who may have concerns that you guys appear to be mostly running it back with a roster that couldn't get it done in the playoffs?
Yeah. I think, I've talked to a lot of you guys about this, at the end of last year, in so many ways, it's as good as I felt about our team heading into the postseason in the years that I've been here. Obviously, we got beat up in the division round. It didn't go our way, but that doesn't mean it's not going to go our way the next time. Like, we think we're really good. It's a long ways away. Doesn't mean we're going to go win 94 games again. Doesn't mean we're going to win 88. Doesn't mean, but we think we have the pieces. We're going in with a lot of the guys that we brought in as kind of support pieces too, that we brought in at the trade deadline last year as reinforcements. We're going into the season with a lot of those guys in place. So I feel like our roster flexibility is better night in and night out going in. Obviously we're going to have some people returning to the mix. We're so looking forward to getting Garrett back in the mix, and at some point in the first half of the season, and obviously full seasons of some of the guys that kind of came of age for us in the rotation. We're excited about how a lot of the guys like a Louis Heel looks coming into spring already. So it's no guarantees. But I'm really excited to go to battle with this group. Like, I think we have a chance to be really good. The East is always good, right? But and it feels like a lot of those teams have gotten better. We know the Orioles are going to be much better. Boston continues; their young guys continue to develop. Toronto's obviously the defending American League champ. So, and Tampa's always really good. So it's going to be a grind. There's no guarantees ever, but our plan is to go get back to the postseason and try and go win a world championship. And I think we have a roster that is capable of doing that potentially. But again, it's January. We got a lot of boxes to check, a lot of things to accomplish to get to that point. But I'm excited to take our chances with this group for sure.